Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to the Datacron Set 15 review. It just got announced here a few days ago. We're a couple days out from starting the conquest that releases this set. But for the industrious, some of these whales, these krakens out here, have already gotten at least a foot deep into this new set. And speaking of which, I am joined by Aesop Rock, one of the very top players in Grand Arena. Here, joining me again for I think our third Datacron set video. So great to have you again, Aesop. How you doing?
Doing good. Appreciate the invite and I don't know about calling me the whale who's a foot deep. I think I'm probably 2 feet into this point, so
I
we'll
yeah,
we'll, we'll see how the testing goes.
I'd rather imply than state outright. But let's dig right into it because I know we're going to spend most of our time talking about the 6 and the 9. So let's blaze right through here. As far as stats go, guys, offensive stats is back, and since we know that the bulk is back on the level 3s, and we'll cover that. This is, as Aesop was saying in our pre-show here, this is the return of the timeout meta. So you have to have large enough, effective enough offense to actually get everybody dead within 5 minutes. And we've had a very explosive meta for some time now. People, if you have just mechanically the right counter, the enemy team just goes right on down. It will be a dangerous time, but the stats will help you a lot. Offense, crit damage galore, armor penetration returns in significant quantity. It's like look at some of these numbers. Often, like the low value is 35%, max value is 50% on the low rolls. That's the low rolls. Let's see what the upper roll is. 70 to 100%. We're going to have enormous armor penetration again. Crit damage will be up there too, but so it's like your special damage teams, unless you're actually having them rigged for crit damage, will probably be wanting to stack offense. Your physical damage, I don't know, Aesop. I feel like armor penetration in this kind of quantity is kind of too tempting to split priority with crit damage. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I just don't think they did the scaling very well. So I agree. It's very physical damage focused. I'd crank the armor pen and let loose. So
We're back to like doom of all things Qui-Gon. It's like you take in a GL, you kill like if you don't kill JK first for whatever reason, if you decided to kill Qui-Gon anyway, JK just wipes your whole team anyway. Just
400 armor pen for the win. Absolutely.
it's back. Lord Vader with a ton of armor pen. I could feel it in my bones. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one though. I'm gonna enjoy that. All right, let's talk about alignments here. So, dark side, light side, they share the same ones. We'll just cover what they are. Whenever allies evade an attack, they gain offense up. This one's pretty meh. At the start of the encounter, dark or light side allies gain 15% max health and max protection for each other light side ally if it's a light side team, dark side ally if it's a dark side team. So again, this is per each other, so not yourself. And in 5 versus 5, you'll be gaining 15 times 4, 60% bonus. And then, 15 times 2, 30% bonus in 3 versus 3. The evasion here, whenever allies are evaded by an enemy, that ally gains accuracy up for 2 turns, and they inflict evasion down for 2 turns on that enemy, which can't be evaded. Aesop and I chatted about this one briefly as well. Set 14 allows you to stack accuracy as a stat up front, and you can get pretty reasonably without having to reroll and do something, not even having them all be accuracy, but it's pretty easy to just kind of stumble your way into 40-ish% accuracy. Whereas this cron requires that you miss first. So any of your encounter, your things like your Afra, if you're trying to do a matchup where that matters, or your EP Star Killer, it's better that you don't miss first. So kind of roll with that. If you want to have one as a backup, maybe just one of each alignment, something like that. I don't know if you had anything on that further, Asa.
No, I just don't think there's any like I mean, again, it's future proofing versus dodge, but I mean, for me, what I'm going to skip that for right now, and what I'll do is, if dodge hits next time, I'll cry for a day, and then I'll re-roll it on, so I have some crystal code.
And yeah, that pretty much covers it for the for the alignments. But the bulk level 3 define the meta for sets 9 and 11. So we know that this is going to be the standard level 3. The question is, how many set 14s are going to be worth using? Like, it's going to have to be a big deal for you to choose that over all of the survivability. The good news is that matters less going into 3s. And new Datacron sets always debut in 3 versus 3, so you'll have that cushion to kind of test it out and kind of build a feel for, man, that 30% felt good, and that will be doubled. That effect will be doubled. 30 to 60% when I go back into 5s. Is it worth that, or do I want the 3 and 6 from set 14 more? Kind of a thing. Anything else you wanted to add there?
I mean, bulk is still bulk even in 3s, so it's just because if you think about it, the stats, right? You're getting the 30% of both health and prot that you're trying to roll for as stats in set 14 that you now are just getting in your level 3, and then plus any extra bonuses from your GR or whatever that we'll get into. But
yes,
I just think bulk is still going to win out for a lot of things.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get right into the factions here. So Gungans, guys, we're going to save you some time here. There's only one Gungan team. When you're going into 3s, you're going to use only 3 Gungans. Whichever 2 Gungans you choose not to use will not have any use elsewhere. So, that said, there's only one worth getting, and it's this long one right here. Whenever a Gungan ally is damaged, or the allied shield generator loses a stack of plasma shielding, remove 1 stack of recharge from the allied shield generator. Whenever the allied shield generator uses plasma pulse, dispel all debuffs from all Gungan allies and inflict plasma residue on all enemies for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. If an enemy is already inflicted with plasma residue, remove 100% turn meter, daze, stagger, and stun them for 1 turn. So they're going to be stunned, and then you can choose how to round robin hit them as they're gaining turn meter to reset them back into being at the beginning of a stun. So you are just stone aging them with that. And then it says, whenever a Gungan ally deals damage to a debuffed enemy, they also deal 5% max health damage to that enemy. This damage can't defeat enemies. So you can see the other ones here on screen, folks. Like, they don't hold a candle to it. So don't mess with any of the others. Just go for the gold. Any thoughts you wanted to chuck in on there, Aesop?
Nope. It's simple. You're going for that one. There's only one Gungan team. You're using Bothnath, and then Gak, you're using Jar Jar for sure, and then we're all going to get to play with the 3rd slot and see what we do. So.
Wait, I'm saying you're saying Boss Nass for Gak, because I was thinking the same. The Boss Nass lead seemed to be, or the Boss Nass level 9. We'll get there, of course, but I thought
we'll get there. I was talking about just the team comp. You have to go with the lead, right? So you're going with Boss Nass, and you're going to go with Jar Jar for the Gak Omnis. So you already have 2 of your 3 Gungans for 3s, and then we're going to be playing with that 3rd slot for which Gungan's going to be the best to go along with that for 3s. So.
Yep, it's true. All right, guys, this is where there's actually quite a bit of flexibility that might not necessarily be apparent. Galactic Republic. So, this first one is cracked. Whenever a Galactic Republic ally with Protection Up assists, if there are no enemies with Protection Disruption, inflicted for 1 turn on the target enemy, which can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. While Galactic Republic allies have Protection Up, they have plus 50% accuracy, counter chance, critical damage, and they ignore taunt. What do you think about this one, Aesop?
I mean, this is awesome. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody about this. We were joking about how useless the Lumi Ami is, because all the Galactic Republic teams you want to put with her all have Protection Up.
Yes.
And her Ami gets canceled by Protection Up. So it's like, basically, whoever you're using with Galactic Republic is going to be getting Protection Up. They almost always assist out of turn, so this is going to get applied all the time, and it's awesome.
It's heinous. The stats, while Galactic Republic allies have protection up, they have plus 50% accuracy and crit damage and crit chance and ignore taunt. Like, that's too much. It's awesome. But like, when I say there's some things to think about, guys, think about how many Galactic Republic teams there are, right? You've got like Qui-Gon. If you want to have Qui-Gon with Kel, okay. If you want to have them distinct, now there's 2 teams. You have a Padme team, which, you know, historically is like a B or C tier team, but that was yesterday's news. We'll have Queen Amidala soon, JMK, Gas, Bad Batch. Like, think about how many different things can arise from this.
Beck now, JMK.
Yeah, I don't know if you. I did mention JMK, but yes, Beck is going to be a good one. And then, yeah, you actually had a good suggestion there off screen. Did you want to mention that?
I don't remember which one.
It had to do with a certain Galactic Republic.
Oh, with the Rebels?
Yeah.
You're talking about the R2 and 3PO? Yeah, you have fun with any crossover Galactic Republic that can go in other teams.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. You're not necessarily thinking top of mind that R2 and C-3PO are both Galactic Republic, but yeah, that's an opportunity for them to shine. So it's not just with this one, though. Like, in particular with C-3PO, you could think about a number of teams in which it would be a real pain in the ass for him to be always being able to apply an unresistible ability block, in addition to all his other nastiness. So you have the whenever a Galactic Republic ally deals damage to an enemy and no other enemy is ability blocked, inflict ability block on for 1 turn on the enemy, which can't be evaded or resisted. The health and protection recovery one here is kind of meh. That one's, especially when you have this one returning in a different fashion. At the start of each turn, if non-Galactic Legend Galactic Republic allies have 50% or more turn meter, damage they receive is reduced by 75% until the end of the turn. So this was like, we saw this in the past for Jedi and for Rebels, I think, right? And it was heinous.
Definitely Rebels. I can't remember was it Jedi too?
I thought there was one for Jedi. It affected gas, right?
It affected JMK too. I remember, and you could go at Kat because she wasn't a Jedi.
Yeah, see, I thought it was Jedi, but it's like I'm having the flashbacks right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about fighting Fatal's CLS team with my Ewoks. And it was just an impossible situation. Like CLS just hanging on with high turn meter, but at a threat of health, just living long enough to do a third, restore some back, and then just restarting the juggle. Just a horror show.
Well, I was talking from the Akbar lead and the damage reduction, because they would always just get their TM back up like right away, and you're just like, and I can't do anything again, and they would just time people out. It was fantastic.
See, for those rare ducks that have the Akbar, and also doesn't Leia have one too?
Yeah, it was the Princess Leia and Akbar.
If you got the Princess,
bring it with. Oh yeah, it was great.
If you got that duo, guys, that's gonna be I mean, that was for Rebels. You don't have it here because they're not Galactic Republic, but that was a fun one. Still, you can kind of apply the same thought, right? Think about your Galactic Republic teams that are long on turn meter, have turn meter generation, and you know, go accordingly. There might even be some interesting. Yeah. I probably not in the top of Kyber 1, but Bad Batch ideas, you know, something like that.
Bad Batch with Shaak Ti, because you're going to want Shaak Ti there for both the TM generation and plus she is Galactic Republic versus, and I always forget this because I always remember Conquest when I'm using Bad Batch with Omega, and then why am I not getting the GR feat? Oh, it's right. Omega is not Galactic Republic. So you're going to want to toss the Shaak in that comp. But
yeah, I completely agree with that. She is correct. A lot of good turn meter stuff with her. All right, and then whenever Galactic Republic allies attack out of turn, they have 25% chance to remove 10% turn meter. This is another kind of dud, just like the health and protection recovery one. I mean, it's not awful in and of itself. It's just compared to the other things we've highlighted, it's not even worth considering. All right, Inquisitors. Again, there's going to be, for each of these factions, a pretty clear standout winner. So we have The main one here is whenever an Inquisitorious ally inflicts a stack of Purge, they gain 5% defense, offense, and tenacity stacking for 1 turn. Whenever a stack of Purge is consumed or dispelled on an enemy, expose them for 1 turn. Whenever an Inquisitorious ally attacks an enemy inflicted with a stack of Purge, a random other Inquisitorious ally assists, dealing 5% bonus damage per stack of Purge, and then they inflict a stack of Purge, maximum of 6, on target enemy, which can't be evaded. So yeah, that's a lot. And for those of you that have been working with the Inquisitors for some time now, their kit is a lot in itself. It doesn't actually need a lot of help to be pretty crazy. So yeah. What do you see this doing that that you couldn't do before with Inquisitors? What do you think this enables? Do you think this is just a hard shutdown on Galactic, or like Jedi? Like if somebody decides to be cocky with a pretty fat Galactic Republic level 6 Cron and they stick it on their JMK and they stick him on defense, is this just going to run roughshod over him?
I don't know. I'm afraid that because JMK is going to get the damage reduction. Like it doesn't matter how much bonus damage you're going to do if you're doing 1 damage, right? They have high ATM. So I'm curious if it impacts them on defense against like Kreia or Malgus or other comps that you're coming with. If they're going to be able to crank out enough damage to burn through those in bulk scenarios where it matters.
So it might not enable any new offensive counters. You're saying.
Correct. I'm thinking of it more from a defensive perspective, but
right.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, off rip, it seems like it would be pretty difficult to deal with on defense because they're going to stack crazy stats from the start of the battle, just off that first line. And granted, this is not going to hit as hard as the 400% defense to offense conversion. I don't think it will. Because the whole idea of that was you got this enormous upfront punch, and then hopefully you win the fight off of that, hitting hard up front. Whereas over the course of a longer fight, especially now with bulk returning to the meta, this seems like it could be exponentially more difficult to deal with over the course of the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. The other ones, honorable mentions. So yeah, unlike Gungans, you can make a viable split of Inquisitors into 2 teams on 3 versus 3. So a couple honorable mentions would be, I think, at least for defensive viability, the blind is nice. And then whenever allies start their turn with fewer than 2 buffs, all other allies gain 15% turn meter. That could be interesting as well. I don't know if you had anything you want to throw in on that, Aesop.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're going to get more clever as we go on. In my early ones, I'm definitely going to be playing the long text one, and then as we get into kind of situational differences and start to figure it out, yeah, then we can get clever with blind or anti-revive or whatever.
But you're thinking up front, at least early on, you're probably just in 3s. If you, not that you are going to do a split on Inquisitors, but if you were, you would just run 2 of these, is what you're saying.
Oh, I'm planning a split of Inquisitors. I'm making a level 9 Reva and a level 9 Night Sister and going to have some fun.
All right.
So
that sounds fun. I dig that. All right. This is where we're going to have some real fun, guys. This is the one that's got me geeked. First Order. At last, the glory of the First Order has returned. This is another one where there's one like 15-line paragraph ability and then just a bunch of other ordinary stuff. So let's cover the big one. You will want this, obviously. Whenever a First Order ally scores a critical hit, the leader gains 10% offense, stacking max 200% until the end of the encounter. If the leader scores a critical hit, they gain an additional 10% offense, and all other First Order allies recover 15% health and protection. Whenever the leader uses an ability, remove 1% turn meter from all other First Order allies. Whenever a First Order ally loses turn meter, they gain 10% critical damage stacking for 2 turns. Also, recall, I think it is that with Slacker on the board, I want to say is it his leadership that it will affect everybody, where if everybody's losing turn meter, then they're gaining bulk? Or
I
is
think
that
so.
just a Slacker only feature? I forget if that's on his
I
unique
don't
or if that's
remember.
built in his lead.
I haven't looked at that kit in a long time, so
But we
I don't
all
remember.
but before we had like GG Stap, we all used to, if we had the luxury, we used to use like Slacker solo against a whole GG team in fives,
Hmm.
because we knew that as he was stripping the turn meter off of us, we were literally just bulking up, and you could finish max health, max protection at the end of the fight if
Oh
they
yeah.
just insisted on
Hmm.
stripping turn meter off you. So there's it's, if it works the way I'm thinking it does, like your whole team, and if not your whole team, at least not Slacker, because it says all other first order. So if it works the way I'm thinking it does, not only are you guys hitting harder whenever he uses an ability, you're all getting bulkier. I think it's possible. I feel like a jerk. I should really check that. All right. Next part of the same ability, though. Whenever a first order ally attacks a stunned enemy, they deal 10% max health damage to that enemy. This damage can't defeat enemies. Whenever the leader is not damaged during the enemy's turn, if there are no allies with damage immunity, a random first order ally gains damage immunity for one turn. Why not? Just throw that in, just right on top. Little multicolored sprinkles. What do you have to say on this one, Aesop?
I just don't know when they're designing this. You're like, you know what? This isn't strong enough. Let's just toss this right on top.
Give him all of the everything. It's an insane ability, guys. I'm actually literally gonna grab my phone because now it's gonna bother me. It's gonna bother me if I don't know that thing about Slacker here. That's an important one.
Yeah, in terms of the other ones, I don't know what else you're going to want to use.
Yeah. And as far as, let's see here, FOSF, Special Forces Omicron has been derelict for a long time.
Hmm.
Just complete disuse. And the opportunity arises once again.
Oh yeah.
Gotta think though. How would you? What kind of split might you do with first order
Well,
in threes?
it's because we haven't gotten to the nines yet, but you're gonna. I mean, the special forces Tie Fighter right now with his level 9,
Yeah,
you're gonna want that with Slacker and
yeah.
probably a tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, Crew or Fost there, and then you can go Hux Red, the other one over on the other side, and either use it for offense and kill something bigger than you could before, or maybe it could work in the defense. I have no idea. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is. All right, it's all right. So it does affect the whole team, the thing about Slacker, but it is baked into his unique. So it's half right. We'll give myself partial
Hmm.
credit on that one. But his unique, Slacker's unique says whenever a dark side ally loses turn meter, they gain 10% of their current max health and max protection, stacking until the end of battle. So we're talking about, like, when we come back to fives, putting your main, like, badass Slacker team on defense poses a real problem. God. All right.
Yeah, these defenses are going to be brutal. It's bulk is going to be. You're going to have a lot of timeouts. It's going to be rough.
It's going to feel interesting having Slacker be a serious, like, gangster level threat on defense. Because just about everything's been steaming over him for a long time, so it'll feel good. All right, here we go, guys. The main, the meat and potatoes here. Let's talk about it. Jar Jar, starting off the character section is Jar Jar Binks. The way Aesop and I will cover this is it's like, is it a winner? And if it is a winner, we'll talk about it. So Jar Jar is a winner for both of us. Whenever Jar Jar Binks inflicts a debuff or is inflicted with a debuff, he gains 10% turn meter. Whenever a Gungan ally assists Jar Jar Binks, they shock the target enemy for one turn if they are inflicted with plasma residue. Otherwise, apply a stack of frustration for one turn. And remember, the Gungan thing up above applies plasma residue, in addition to the kit in general on the team. At the start of each other Gungan ally's turn, they inflict accuracy down and evasion down on the healthiest enemy for one turn. If all allies are Gungan at the start of battle, whenever Jar Jar Binks evades an attack, a random enemy's cooldowns are increased by 1, and a random Gungan ally's cooldowns are decreased by 1. So this sounds really good, right, guys? But, it's good, but what about Boss Nass? What you think anything is better about Jar Jar than Boss Nass up front before we read it?
I mean, I don't know. That's the challenge, right? I mean, Jar Jar's, I think, has better abilities, but we'll get to Boss Nass's. I think the revive on the generator is probably going to be better, but I have done zero testing, so I have no idea.
That's what I think, too. All right, let's talk about the big Boss Nass himself. Whenever Boss Nass dispels a debuff from himself, so that'll be with his middle, he and the weakest other Gungan ally gain 5% max protection, stacking max 200% until the end of the encounter, and he removes 1 stack of recharge from the allied shield generator. Whenever the enemy is inflicted with plasma residue or frustration, they are blinded for 1 turn. And the first time the allied shield generator's plasma shield reaches 0, it recovers 10 stacks of plasma shield. And, you know, there's so much in that kit for that team that is interdependent on the presence of the plasma shield. I think Bombardier says that while it's like in his unique, like while the plasma shield generator is alive, enemies defeated cannot be revived. And that's just like one line on his unique, like thrown in at the end. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff throughout that kit, throughout that team kit. So yeah, I read the Jar Jar one first, you know, and it sounds really strong, but this seems intuitively like it would be better. I think obviously most of us will probably end up trying out both at some point.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an offense-defense thing, right? If you're going to put them on defense, then I bet the Boss Nass is better because you have less control over controlling your generator. But if you're going to go on offense with them, there might be a case for where, you know, the AI is going to be dumb and not going to go with the shield generator, and therefore you don't need the revive as badly, and you can use the Jar Jar, you know, then it might be more effective. So
I see that actually, and like I guess the only time you'd want Boss Nass for offense is if it's early days like this and you're not as confident in the matchup you're picking. This would give you a little bit more, you know, wiggle room, I guess. But yeah, if you're confident in the attack and you're no risk of actually ever seeing the plasma shield get that kind of low, yeah, Jar Jar would absolutely do more. So fair enough. All right, Tarpals, that's a no from me.
Yeah, skip them.
Yep.
I mean, the rest of the Gungans.
Yep, Bombardier, Phalanx. Okay, yeah, these guys really just don't merit notice, comparatively anyway. All right, let's talk about Padawan Obi-Wan. All right, the community's been afire about this since they announced how this is the one that's exclusive, right? You either get this right now with the release event of this new Padawan Obi-Wan, or you never get it, right? This is not unlockable in Conquest? Is that
correct?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
From what I understand, you only get it from the event.
So first of all, guys, I hope they never do this again. I don't know what possessed them. They've made so many great decisions over the last few years in increasing the accessibility to new content for players, especially newer players, without being as expensive or as requiring as much upfront expense as it used to. They've made a lot of great decisions for this game, but putting something that you have to whale for the character, get it to 7 stars right now, or you miss on a Datacron that by the time you would otherwise unlock this character, the Datacron's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. Sorry, go ahead.
And now that I have the pieces, it makes sense why they did this. They did this because there's literally zero reason to whale on this character otherwise. Because his kit is so locked to the new Queen and to the new Qui-Gon, who's not even out yet, that, you know, before the Datacron, I wasn't going to do anything. I was like, screw it. He's useless. Mm-hmm. He's just, you know, not even that good, you know, a Galactic Republic. But now with the Datacron, I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe I should do this, right? And so that's the calculus they've made. This is 100% a money grab, and there is no point to get him without this, you know, carrot, basically.
Yeah, and if a CG person were here in the room to defend it, and they said the same thing, I said that's fine, but what about next time? Like, how often are you thinking that it's like, you know, we can release these new characters that are meant to be part of a new kit? Like, what happens when we see Captain, what's his name, Captain to Queen Amidala, when he gets added into the game?
He'll just be a solo ad. I don't think he'll you'll add him because you want him as part of the team at that point. I think this is literally just because his kit is so tied to Queen and Qui-Gon, who aren't out yet. That
but they've had characters like that before that were bound up in one faction, and they'll do it again in the future. So my point is it's like, how often are they setting us up where it's, you're going to have a meta-defining Datacron? Because I agree, this is powerful. I'll read it off here in a second, but like, it's only ever going to be seen by the people that go hard on this character, and then maybe a year later this might pop up something.
You probably won't like this answer, but my bet is they'll do this again, depending on how much money they make off this one. So,
I know you're right. I don't like it, but I know you're right. All right, guys, let's read this monster. At the start of the encounter, Padawan Obi-Wan gains 100% counter chance until the end of the encounter. Whenever he evades an attack, he recovers 20% health and protection. Whenever he attacks out of turn, he deals true damage to the enemy, which can't be evaded. Whenever turn meter is removed from an enemy, Padawan Obi-Wan gains foresight for 1 turn. At the start of each Galactic Republic ally's turn, if Padawan Obi-Wan has a stack of heal over time, he gains 20% offense. And if he has a stack of protection over time, he gains 20% defense penetration for 1 turn, doubled if there is an active Handmaiden decoy. Whenever another Galactic Republic ally falls below 50% health for the first time or is defeated, Padawan Obi-Wan takes a bonus turn, resets all of his cooldowns, removes 10% turn meter, and removes an additional 10% turn meter for each relic amplifier level that ally has from all enemies which can't be resisted. Oh my god. Like, what does this do? I don't even know how are you using this? What are you thinking you're going to even do with this thing, Aesop?
A lot of this is tied to the Queen, and it's definitely going to be the Datacron you're going to use when the Queen and Master Qui-Gon comes out, and it's going to be brutal, and that team is going to be disgusting. Right now, it's useless except for one clause, which is the true damage piece when attacking out of turn. Right now, that's the one thing that's not truly tied to Queen Amidala that is useful for him and makes him useful now.
And so people are throwing him in with JML?
Yeah. Well, you throw him in with JMK, too, where if he's the weakest ally, he's attacking out of turn.
Fair.
Bam.
Fair.
Bunch of true damage. Toss him with Beck, toss him with all these other teams. All of a sudden, you have this like monster true damage coming out of nowhere on these assists.
That's cool, though. So, that means that if you had to drop Ahsoka out of that team, since, her value is mostly as being the character that's assisting all the time, that means you could throw her in with Beck, which is, like, man, I love that feel, right? Like, that team just pops.
I mean, think of threes and stuff, all the people who are, assisting and something. Maybe you can even run a GK lead. Who knows? You can have some fun with this, right? Isn't there something about like assisting characters, like and the old school GK lead? I don't remember. I have to read that kit, but he's got some stupid assisting character healing thing. I remember from trying that LSTB mission back in the day.
See, that sounds like a B team. See, this could be fun with the Crons. Like bottom front wall for the next 3 seasons is called B Team Horror Show. Speaking of B Team Horror Show, let's move into Padme. This is a winner, of course.
This is a must. Spawn is an absolute must.
Yeah. All right. Whenever a Galactic Republic ally with courage or protection up uses an ability, if there are no enemies with provoke, a random enemy is inflicted with provoke for 1 turn. Whenever another Galactic Republic ally recovers health or protection, Padme recovers double that amount. Whenever an enemy targets a non-Galactic Legend Galactic Republic ally with protection up while attacking out of turn, the damage they receive is reduced to 1, and the attacking enemy is exposed for 1 turn. Whenever an enemy targets a non-galactic... So you just throw this in if you just wanted to with JMK, and it's just an enormous middle finger to the enemy.
Well, you add the damage reduction level 6 too, and it's like, you just can't hurt me. You're invincible.
Nasty.
Yeah,
whenever a
brutal.
I'll just read this last clause and then we'll discuss the rest of it. But yeah, whenever a non-galactic legend GR ally resists a debuff, they gain a stack of courage, and whenever they are inflicted with a debuff, they gain protection up 10%, stacking, and tenacity up for 2 turns. That's the end of it.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
silly. It's a silly cron.
Yeah, like you're. I'm trying to think. Like, I guess this is my default one with JMK now. Like
Hmm. I
this.
rolled this one first, sat in, and literally just parked myself in first in my arena since I did it.
Oh, and
And
nobody's touched you. I'm sure you're just in a
no,
movable wall.
yeah,
Oh, all right. Well, that all right. So now you guys know that's one of the must-haves from this set for sure. Tech, I don't think is probably worth a lot of mention.
it might be your Galactic Republic one, or sorry, your Bad Batch one. I don't know. I haven't even looked at a bunch of these other ones, so I have
Yeah,
no idea.
whenever Tech uses an ability, they deal damage equal to 50% of their potency. This effect will only trigger if Tech has more than 0% potency. So, I mean, it'll make your Tech slap a lot harder. The question is, what
Hmm.
does that enable for you? I don't know that that changes a lot for fives, but it might be
No,
kind of nasty for threes.
yeah. I mean, if you're going to be using Bad Batch anyway, I mean, if you have the resources right and the extra Datacron, there's no reason not to have the level 9 that fits the Bad Batch team,
More is
right?
more.
So,
It's true. That's fair.
I don't know.
All right,
So,
controversial here. Let's take a look at Luminara. The first time she's defeated, she survived with 100% health, gains protection over time for 2 turns, and takes a bonus turn. I mean, if you happen to just, wander your way into using Luminara on a team somewhere, I guess, but I wouldn't make any special effort, would you?
no, definitely not. I mean, I have the Lumi on me just because I wanted to see if it could be useful. I've yet to find a way to use it. The only
Yeah.
possible place I might want to try this would be with an SK team. And because he has the reduction, the cooldown reduction for Galactic Republic healers, so she could just spam her heal, keep getting the hots up, keep the team healing.
I
It
could see
could
that.
work, except I think she uses the defense anyway, uses the wrong special. So
Yeah.
it may just be useless.
Mm-hmm. All right. Third sister here. Yeah, this is, I think we agree, must have.
Uh, so it's this one or ninth, and this is what I don't know because again, this is going to take testing because they're
Well,
both
and you
awesome.
said you were going to split anyway for threes,
I
so
am for
it was
threes.
going
I'm
to be
getting both.
third and ninth, I'm assuming?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, we'll
For
cover
threes, I'm going
both
third
for
and ninth.
sure.
Yeah.
All right, so third sister says whenever any character is defeated, third sister gains hatred for the rest of battle or until she is defeated. While third sister has hatred, she also has plus 100% counter chance and plus 50% critical damage. Outstanding. At the start of third sister's turn, all Inquisitorious allies with taunt dispel all debuffs on themselves, recover 20% max health and max protection, and gain 20 speed for 2 turns. So that isn't stacking the speed; it'll just refresh. Wow. So for a lot of us, we've been running offense set with health 2 piece, health circle. I want to say probably health or offense cross, crit damage triangle. But I've had to steal a lot of the best offense secondaries off of her over time. This is a strong incentive to reinvest some of that damage back on her because with that counter chance and the crit damage, she's just gonna slap the
Hmm.
shit out of people all day.
Oh yeah, especially in threes when she gets all jacked up. So
Yeah, Balkan and all that. Ooh, that's just gross. All right, let's talk about Ninth Sister, the big girl. At the start of the encounter, all Inquisitorious allies have plus 200% max health and are immune to ability block. Eat your heart out, JML. Ninth Sister deals 20% bonus true damage based on her max health with her basic ability if the target enemy is inflicted with Purge. Spoiler, they will be. If any enemy has 6 stacks of Purge when Ninth Sister would be defeated for the first time, she consumes all stacks of Purge from a random enemy with 6 stacks of Purge, recovers 100% max health and max protection, and removes 50% turn meter from all enemies. So if you haven't been in the practice of having casually somewhere in closer up to 100% potency on your Ninth Sister, strong incentive to make sure you have some potency baked in because that turn meter removal can be resisted, but oh my god, how impactful. 50% AoE TMR, that is difficult to manage.
yeah, I remodded her for full health too because I want to see what that true damage can look like.
No doubt, and I'm sure it would. I'm sure you have the mods to sacrifice nothing. You can have her in this full health to maximize that, and probably have decent potency secondaries besides.
Yeah, I was trying to go for potency and offense secondaries because again, the true damage, I want to maximize as much offense on her as well too. I want to see if I could get her just like counter killing people. So
that sounds horrific. Yeah, actually, that's a smart call. The offense is also a good idea. Yeah, that's a comprehensive remod for sure, but worth it for this kit. All right. That being said, Second Sister, Seventh Sister really don't merit any attention. Let's get into the First Order ones. All right, first big one here. First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot. First Order SF TIE Pilot has plus 100% potency, while Allied Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is active. So for the very first time, you're actually going to want these two characters together on the same team. But while Allied Slacker is active, First Order SF TIE Pilot can't be defeated. While First Order allies have advantage, they ignore taunt. So, you have a full First Order team, you have Hux in there, everybody's starting with advantage, and off to the races you go. Have a ton of speed on this team, right? Like intuitively, like you've not needed to put so much emphasis on all these other characters aside from Slacker going super crazy fast. Something worth thinking about. Whenever the ally in the leader slot or First Order SF TIE Pilot is damaged while they have advantage, stun that enemy for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. Whenever an enemy is stunned, First Order SF TIE Pilot's abilities gain 5% bonus damage, stacking max 200%. He and the ally in the leader slot gain 10% max health until the end of the encounter. And if the ally in the leader slot is Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, he gains 5% ultimate charge. Whenever a stunned enemy is defeated, they can't be revived. So it isn't just Slacker who has the permakill on his stuff. It's pretty much anyone on the team. So long as the enemy is stunned. The ally in the leader slot then gains a bonus turn, and the allied leader and First Order SF TIE Pilot recover 100% health and protection. So you can't kill the SF TIE Pilot until Slacker's dead, and anytime anyone on the team is killing an anything, whenever a stunned enemy is defeated, which, Slacker's going to be stunning people 2 turns at a time. You've got crew. You've been having crew maybe with your Seer team a long while now. Might be worth throwing him back in the mix here. That's another 2-turn stun. Whenever these stun people are dying, they go back to 100% health and protection in a bulk meta. This is going to be nuts.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I've said all I can say on it. You have something you want to throw in on this SF thing?
It's just I've rolled this cron and it's disgusting. I'm still playing with what mods you want on the different tunes. I've modded my special forces for offense because I want them just like trucking people.
Believe it.
I don't know if I know you said speed for SLKR and you do want speed on him, but it might be worse. I don't know. I'm just playing with the idea that I haven't tested any of this. This is just me kind of spur of the moment thinking. But you might actually want to go offense and just have him just open up and AoE swipe and one-shot the whole team. Like, his offense is going to be silly with this. Again, I don't know how it's going to impact going against bulk because I'm crushing, set 14 in arena right now. So maybe bulk is not going to work as well, but I don't know. It's just going to be gross. So
this is going to be married to a set that has what do you think? Are you going to stack more armor pen on this? Because this isn't a team that's doing true damage, like to your point about the previous team, you might, as far as stats go, you might want to stack offense for Inquisitors to maximize your true damage output kind of a thing. But this is like maybe just straight armor pen or what?
Yeah, I think you probably just want the armor pen. Because you're just going to need to do as much damage as possible. And the crit damage is just that rolls aren't high enough to help you out. Because you're always going to be critting because you're always going to have advantage, but maybe it's some combination of crit damage armor pen. I don't know. Yeah,
somebody better at the math would have to break that one down. But Yeah, armor penetration seems like the gut feel of the way to take
Well,
that.
you'll definitely, I mean, based on the scaling, armor pen for your level 3 rolls, without a doubt. Like you can get 100% armor pen on your 2 level 3 rolls, like 50%, 50%. And that's just like silly because you can, I think you max out at like 10% offense or 20% crit chance or something, or crit damage. And it's just not.
True. It's
that's
true.
Impactful. So.
Again, yes, we've said it here a couple times. The armor penetration is the outsized winner of the offensive stats on this set. So definitely go for it. First Order Stormtrooper, you think that's worth covering?
No. Nope. I haven't honestly read it all, so maybe there's some implication that I don't understand. But I think
you know what? For you and for all the folks, I'll read it off, and we'll make a call at the end. At the start of the encounter, First Order Stormtrooper gains 100% max health and max protection, and the Allied leader gains 50% armor penetration and offense. Whenever stun expires or is dispelled from an enemy, First Order Stormtrooper gains 10% defense and tenacity stacking, and the ally in the leader slot gains 10% critical damage stacking until the end of the encounter. Whenever another First Order ally is critically hit, First Order Stormtrooper gains prod up 25% stacking and taunts for 2 turns. Whenever First Order Stormtrooper uses the Order Relentless, he also dispels all debuffs from all First Order allies, and they recover 50% health. So, from we've never had First Order Special Forces with Slacker before, and that is clearly the prime team, right, in terms of maxing out Slacker himself. But if you were for any reason inclined to have like a First Order split here in 3s, so you probably do something like Slacker, Special Forces, and Crew on one team, and like Hux, Red, Faust on another, with a Faustcron. That's kind of the only way I see this working its way in for me, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Same for me. It's the only way I can see it being useful.
And it's certainly head and shoulders above either of these other ones for both Captain Phasma and Slacker themselves. These are just losers. Phasma's, whenever an enemy is stunned, she takes a bonus turn. And Slacker's is, he deals 5% more damage per relic amplifier level on all allies present at the start of battle. I guess to your point, if you were trying to max out absolute upfront damage with what you were discussing with your modding, I wonder if the Slacker might be better for that application, because this is still a ramping effect, right? This SF.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this might be the kapow you're looking for that limited application, but otherwise, I think these are our winners.
Yeah. The only other fun thing that could be annoying that you could use this for was like those funky, SLKR, Malicos comps, right?
Ooh, yeah. That's kind of cool too.
Because you can use his lead there, right? And you don't care about much of the other First Order stuff. You could use some of it, right? But then you just ramp him to oblivion with a silly team like that.
Oh, I do like that though. That is interesting. I don't think I'll see a lot of that, but again, the idea of investing in so much upfront offense, like you're saying, going in offense modded Slacker into a ton of armor pen with this level 9 and the extra offense from Malicos unique, I want to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That could be a winner. I could see it. All right, we've reached the end of the write-up here. I don't want to keep you too much longer, man. I always appreciate your time. Did you have any other thoughts you wanted to throw at the people before we close out?
It's just bulk is back, and get ready for being infuriating the timeouts. I know that's what happens to me. This is different than, I think last bulk had defense on it too, though. So I'm hoping this will be a little different now. I feel like they learned from that, and now they give us offense stats to hopefully combat the bulk level 3. Hopefully it's not going to be as bad.
Yeah, because we remember bulk being like irresistible, but we didn't have armor penetration in this kind of quantity at the same time, I want to say.
I think they had 400% defense too. It was like bulk. If I remember, like the Jabba teams back then, it was like 400%, defense plus bulk, and you're like, okay, right. What do I do?
That was extra heinous.
Like I haven't done any damage for 5 minutes again, so. But I think this should hopefully be better than that. But it'll be fun. It'll be definitely different than what it was. And the TM teams are back. Doubt is gone, so TM is back. TM trains are back.
Yes. So much more is enabled. Like
I know.
we do have a lot to deal with the size of some of these teams with bulk and everything. But yeah, we have so much
Mm-hmm.
more offensive power coming into this meta
Yeah.
than previous. Like set 9, set 11. Yeah, we're much better prepared.
Yeah. The only other thing too is do not try Night Sisters on Finzori anymore without doubt. For all those who used to be using that,
Good
good
call,
luck.
and that goes for GG too. I've had a couple
I
good
know.
Night Sister clutches against GG stat, believe it or not. All that is gone, just gone. Wild
Exactly.
fantasy.
Exactly.
All right, well, Aesop, as always, thank you so much for making the time to produce this. I know we're hours away from starting TW. I actually have to, hustle and get my defense placed so that my
Yeah.
TW
Please get those
lead
down.
doesn't come after me. All right, guys, this video will be coming out to my patrons today as soon as I get it uploaded, and general release will come out, let's say today's Saturday. I'll put it out about midweek. So we got a few days of exclusivity here for the good patrons at home. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. If you want to see me stream live, it's twitch.tv/Tassinix. If you want to see my previous streams, I do upload the VODs here to YouTube with chapters added for easy browsing. You can check out the previous Datacron Set 14 video I also made with Aesop here. Still might be relevant for any rerolls you're looking to do late in the game. And of course, if you enjoy what I'm doing here and you want to support the stream, check out my Patreon. Let's go ahead and throw that up. I always forget to flip that slide, damn it. I really got to get better about that. Check out patreon.com/Tassinix for any upwardly mobile GAC player. There's something there of interest to you. Got to thank the patrons that make this ad worthwhile. At VIP access, jumping in, $5 gets your foot in the door, gets you early access to all of my YouTube exclusive content. And great way to support the stream. Pop into the dedicated Discord chats and be in touch. Thanks goes out to my VIP access members: Andrew, White Wolf, Sam Vimes, Jobin4527, Stark Strategy Gamer, Raise Malvis, Brock Thudsteel, Renee Bebe, Deadpool Cow 28, Johnny B. Ottawa, JJ's Productions Twitch, Sweens 14, and Darth QPPMG. At VIP Access Plus, that's the $10 tier, which gets you the bundled OmegaBot Patreon membership. So if you see at the start of my streams, I go over a detailed scouting report on my opponents, and that's a product of that patron level report. I can dig in on a custom number of weeks, get very targeted information. Can't say enough good about that. So taking advantage of that deal are Striker and Esh Sotnikam. Thank you guys so much. At VIP Access Premium, seizing on the Double Bot bundle with OmegaBot Patreon and Hot Utils Patreon, are Quig, Ibanek, Sir Boss, and Trevor Boy Gaming. And at the top of the heap, the one, the only, Nomad's Reaper, sitting atop at Jester's Club Elite. Number one, most awesome supporter. Just crazy, pops in from time to time, drops hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies, just goes crazy with it. Just appreciate the incredibly generous support. And of course, we have to do our dedicated special thanks to Yoda Force, one of my earliest supporters, bought me the mic I'm talking to you on right now. He has long since quit the game, but we remember him fondly on the other side. To Mrs. T, my wife, doing a fantastic job running interference in the background as my very active daughter wants to play with Dad and enjoys being on camera. So thank you so much. And of course, to Dagger, TJ, and Sasha Isha, my co-hosts on Plotting and Scheming. This is my GAC-focused podcast where, me and the fellas go over the last week in GAC, what worked for us, what didn't, our standout defenses, what we are taking to the next week, and anything else we think is worthwhile throwing into. So these guys spend a lot of time with me to produce this show. Appreciate you guys so much, making that effort. It wouldn't be anywhere near as fun to make or as, useful to watch without you guys. All right, coming back over to the main scene once more. Just got to thank Aesop for his time. I don't know if he had to jump ship because he's got, family obligations and stuff today. But again, thank you so much, man. And until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.